regular meeting of the Delaware Tribal Council to order at 2:10. And ask Tribal Council member Nathan Young if he would lead us in a moment of prayer.
Creator, we come to you today with a humble heart and good intentions. We want to thank you for everything that you've given to the Delaware tribe today. We're here together today under this roof to work together for the betterment of our tribe. Please think of and help us help those who might be in pain or incarcerated or suffering from addiction. People who are hurting in some way. Help us keep them in mind, keep good intentions, and be humble in our actions, and think of the best for our people and our community.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America
and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Roll call.
Chief Chester Brooks,
Here.
Assistant Chief Charles Randall,
Here.
Secretary Nathan Young IV, here. Treasurer Joe Brooks, absent. Member Nikki Michael,
Here.
Member Brad Kilscrow,
Here.
Member Jeremy Johnson.
Here.
We have a quorum, Chief.
Can I hear a motion to approve our agenda?
So moved.
Do I hear a second?
Second.
It's been moved and seconded to approve the agenda as written. All in favor, please say aye. Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? The agenda is approved. I would like to welcome all of our guests today, and especially our tribal court justices, who the tribal court has requested that they be sworn in today. Instead of holding up our tribal court, I would suggest that we proceed immediately with swearing in our new Chief Justice and new Justice.
I'll let her introduce herself to the tribal council.
Sorry, I have not been to council in a while. I've been in school, but my name is Shelley Harris Ketchum, and I just graduated with a Master's of Law from OU in Indigenous People Law, so. I'm super
To the judge's staff. So with that, I'd like to go ahead and swear you in. Okay. Just say I and state your name.
Okay, I, Shelley Harris Ketchum,
Do solemnly swear that I will support
do solemnly swear that I will support
and defend the Constitution of the United States
and defend the Constitution of the United States
of America against all enemies,
of America against all enemies,
that I will carry out faithfully and impartially
that I will carry out faithfully and impartially
the duties of my office to the best of my ability,
the duties of my office to the best of my ability,
that I will cooperate, promote, and protect
that I will cooperate, promote, and protect
the best interests of the Delaware tribe
the best interest of the Delaware tribe,
in accordance with the Constitution and the bylaws,
in accordance with the Constitution and the bylaws.
Congratulations.
Thank you, sir. Thank you.
Congratulations.
Thank you, sir.
I invite our new judge. We have a trial, I guess you say, a hearing next week, next Tuesday, up at the Caney. So she's perfectly welcome to come up and sit on the bench with me. So we were going to reside that there were 2 cases. I thank you for your time. Thank you.
Thank you all.
Thank you. Thank you.
Did you need to swear in the Chief Justice?
Well, Chief Justice, you have been sworn in, of course, as a justice. Would you desire to be sworn in again as Chief Justice?
It's up to the council, you know. I guess I was, Nate Young was court justice, and then I was nominated and asked to fill his position, to fulfill his term.
I think his counsel would be agreeable if I was to swear you in as Chief Justice, and we'll put both of you in the next DIN, of course, and thanks to our tribal court. If you would repeat after me. I, Rick Barnes,
I, Rick Barnes,
do solemnly swear
I solemnly swear
that I will support and defend the Constitution
that I will support and defend the Constitution
of the United States of
of
America
the United States of America
against all enemies,
against all enemies.
that I will carry out faithfully
I will carry out faithfully
and impartially
and impartially
the duties of my office
the duties of my office
to the best of my
to the
ability,
best of my ability,
that I will cooperate,
and I will cooperate,
promote,
promote,
and protect
and protect
the best interests
the best interests,
of the Delaware tribe
the best interests of the Delaware tribe
in
in accordance
with our Constitution
with our Constitution
and bylaws.
and bylaws. Thank you.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
Chief Justice.
Appreciate that.
All right. Thank you. Can I get a picture of the 2 of you together?
Wherever I can go.
Yes.
Michelle Alley and Red Day,
Yes.
we've got other tribal members here. Would you all wish to address the tribal council?
Not at this time, Chief. Thank you, though.
Okay. Minutes of the last meeting. I think all our council got copies of them electronically. Do I hear a motion to approve the minutes?
Sure, Chief, I'll make a motion to approve the minutes.
Did Charlotte get the time changed on the, no, it was an hour off, you're right. I think she got it changed.
I believe so. 2:27.
Does any council member need additional time to review the minutes?
I'll second the motion.
Motion been made and seconded to approve the minutes. If there's no discussion or changes or additions to the minutes, all in favor of approval, please say aye. Aye. Opposed? Let the record show that the minutes,
I have to abstain. I wasn't here. So one abstention.
let the record show that the minutes are approved by a vote of 5 yes and 1 abstention, since the secretary was absent at the last meeting. Do I hear any unfinished business?
I've been hearing rumors or whatever you may want to say, whether it's the truth or what, or we're on hold. But want to know if there's an update status on our trust land deal, or is that still ongoing?
Chief Justice Barnes, this Oklahoma Sovereignty Symposium that was going to be June the 5th and 6th, and the Department of the Interior, I think that they've either already signed the end of trust, or they will next week. But what tells me that it's for real is that they're gonna come to the Sovereignty Symposium on the last day of it and have a meeting with us Delawares to present it to us formally.
Is that in Oklahoma City?
In Oklahoma City, yes, sir, at the Skirvin Hotel.
The reason why I ask, in June 28th or 27th, in Topeka, the Delawares are being part of a meeting up there with other judges in the state of Kansas. And I've been before, but it's always been, where we didn't have any land and trust. So this will be a great deal for us. I can announce that today, hey, we have land and trust now. Whether it's, I don't know what the exact size is, 4 acres or whatever it is, but that's great news for the court. Thank you.
As far as I'm concerned, it's great news for our court and our whole tribe. It's taken something over 150-some years since we've had reservation land or actual tribal land held in trust. I've got my own opinion about how long we had to wait to get it in trust. Not really a very cricket way to treat the first tribe that ever signed a treaty with the United States, but nevertheless, we will have trust land within a couple of weeks. Do I hear other unfinished business?
About that We don't have to vote on it. You can table indefinitely. We don't have to finish all business. I mean, you can pick it up next month. There is no rule we can look at Robert's rules too. There's nothing that's binding us to deal with that right now.
Okay, so we're still on finishing
Okay,
table.
well, I mean, it's just to be really clear, I guess, with everybody,
Yeah,
since
okay.
it seems like we're having a conversation
Yeah.
amongst ourselves.
Talking about the motion
There's
of
been-
styrofoam.
There is a
back and
motion
forth.
put forward about banning styrofoam, the styrofoam cost. Today, we spoke with the chief, point of privilege, that, we spoke with the Title VI director. She brought us in, basically, a form that kind of audited out the costs and the situation. Please excuse me, but I understand that it was the consensus that we do not want to micromanage our directors and their jobs, and we are leaving it up to that program to decide and leave it up to their best judgment. That's my understanding of it, and if anybody disagrees, I'm sorry, and please speak up, but that was my understanding, is we're gonna let our director do her job. She's doing a great job, everybody's proud of Title VI.
So I'll make a motion to table it again. So can I make a motion to table that?
You don't need to, I don't think, but
Okay.
I think,
Stays tabled.
but if it's tabled indefinitely, if you table something, it is
Okay.
indefinite.
right, you think if we could pick it up
Unless
next
you
month?
name a
Okay.
specific
I'm leaving it.
day.
Unless somebody wants to do it, unless somebody makes a motion,
Mhm.
we have to do it, if they need a second.
Charles,
Since this has been made a motion and tabled, would be better off if we go ahead and if I make a motion to vote on it, just to get it off the table? Is that
I wouldn't know what to
okay?
vote on, because I don't even know the motion was, to ban,
So,
Phased out.
okay, no more plastic. Yeah.
This is just-
Yeah, I got it.
So is it already in effect?
well, it's my full contention that we don't have to vote on this, but if a council member wishes to, of course, make a motion.
I'll make the motion to vote on it, just to get it off the table.
Leave it off the table.
That we vote on it, just to get it off the
Oh.
table.
Do I hear a second?
I'll second the motion.
Motion has been made to vote on this subject and seconded to get it off the table. Is there any discussion? Jeremy?
Oh, I just wanted to say that I agree with what I fully agreed with our discussions about this, what Nathan was saying, that this directive should not be a directive from our tribal council. It should come from our directors and our tribal operation managers, because they're the ones who are more familiar with their own programs. And then we're getting into this as, what I like the wording, micromanaging, we're getting into the weeds here, because it just starts, what else we're gonna start trying to take care of, and that's not our job, it's not our purview as tribal council members. Our directors should have, if that was a concern of theirs, they would bring it to us to help them with. And right now, with the numbers she gave, and I'm gonna throw this out there because I think that they're doing an amazing job, with the styrofoam thing, she's saving $210 every 10 days using styrofoam as opposed to paper. So you're talking $600 a month where that can go into our food costs and things for our members. That's my opinion on that.
That's the labor association.
Yeah, I know labor plus the labor.
Chief Brooks?
Yes.
Just for point of clarification, if we are voting yes, then we are voting on a ban of styrofoam and plastic use in Title VI.
Because
Well, we voted to clear it off the table, or we agree?
Well, I think the motion was to clear it off the table.
But you have to clear it, you have to vote on that. You have to
Yeah,
vote on
you
that.
gotta vote, you gotta vote the opposite way, I think.
So I'll be voting no. That means that
Then
they can still use styrofoam or plastic when they need.
voting no with the resolution.
I'm voting no for the resolution.
So we're clear about
I
the
think
vote.
that's proper since when it was brought up at the last meeting, it was tabled. So we're getting it off the table.
Just so we're clear.
Okay,
How we voted.
I understand.
Great.
Okay, is there further discussion? If not, all in favor? Of stopping the use of styrofoam. Please say aye. All opposed?
Aye.
Aye. Did everybody say aye there? Let the record show that this subject
It hurts, but
is brought off of the table and that it is up to the elder nutrition director and or the tribal operations manager to protect the monetary interest of our tribe by the passage of this, or by untabling this vote. Maybe that comment will please my brother. Maybe it won't. Do I hear any other unfinished business? Our treasurer is
I got a
still-
comment.
Oh,
Hey,
Chief Justice.
They're already passing things on straws, on plastic straws, to do away with them, to go to paper.
California.
So, I mean, it's coming up to that point. And then I think 60 Minutes last Sunday had a big deal about raking all this stuff out of the ocean, and it was styrofoam showing the turtles getting caught with the stuff in their mouths. So, I mean, it's something that's gonna happen. I agree with you, it's, you know, but it's something I think it should be on the forethought. Maybe the tribe, or not council per se, but somebody get a recommendation, say, hey, we need to look at this, and maybe the tribe would be the first one to ban styrofoam, you know, in here, in this area. But I mean, that's just a comment.
I'm not gonna disagree.
Oh, no,
Chief Justice. And I'm a forester by education, so I hear those, the environmental concern.
Yes.
However, I don't know how many people have been down to Lowe's, but you can buy insulation board that's made out of styrofoam. I think one of these days, not too far in the future, we're gonna be recycling styrofoam. I hope. And yeah, I know the oceans are full of it, I hear. And, you know, I recognize the problem. But I'd say if we really wanted to be environmentally conscious, we figure out a way to recycle it. Maybe we ought to go into that business. The financials, the treasurer is not here today. Is there any comments, or does anybody wish to make a motion concerning the financials? Nathan?
This goes back to unfinished business concerning the accounting policies and procedures. I would like to ask that we ask our chief financial officer to craft to submit a resolution with her name on it for approval of these policies and procedures for the next meeting. So, I'm sorry it's out of order, chief, but I wanted to go back. That was something that I wanted to, unfinished business. My apologies.
I did, but let's enter it in the minutes that we're simply gonna ask the chief financial officer to draw up a resolution
Okay.
On this financial policy. And we'll vote on that resolution at the next regular meeting.
I make the motion to approve the financials for pending audit. Financials for April of 2019.
I'll second that.
Motion been made and seconded to approve the financials pending audit. Is there any discussion? I'd just simply like to say that in the last 2 weeks, the stock market has dropped about a little over 5%. I'm told by people that should know what they're talking about that that's probably just a normal thing to happen. It's for a pullback when things get real close to the highest they've ever been. So hopefully that is the case, and it'll be the highest it's ever been in a few short weeks or months or whatever. If there's no discussion about the financials, all in favor of approval? Yes.
I still don't know the protocol of these meetings, so I apologize, Chief. In regard to the account that you have with Arvest that has the 2 million roughly correct dollars in it, that was a judgment, as I understand. Is that correct? I just want to make a point, because in the past few weeks that I've been able to be here, there's been some conversations about what is FDIC guaranteed and what isn't. And anything that's at Arvest in the wealth management programs that's being charged a fee for management is SIPC covered, not FDIC, which is fine. But anything that is not in those Arvest wealth programs is limited to $250,000 of FDIC insurance, period. I just want to make a note of that. And my understanding is that there's been maybe hesitation about what to do with that money and how to handle it. And I put myself up for consideration of a private sector entity to manage the trust money. And I'm here today because they also think this is also very key. And so I also put myself out here to say, I'm here to answer questions of anybody, anytime, in my office or here when I'm here. But some of the things that I've seen from the limited amount of reports that I have been given by the trust board and what I have learned over the last few weeks might be deserving of a little bit of highlighting so that there's a very good understanding of what's insured and what isn't and how it's insured and so on and so forth, and what do you do going forward, because you're right, that was a pullback but the markets are changing drastically. The bond market is changing very drastically, and the bond market drives the stock market quite a lot. So I think that this is a very important juncture in time to look at these things very diligently, because as I pointed out to the trust board, whether you have the level of knowledge or not that's needed to have this responsibility, you have the responsibility as fiduciaries. So I'm here to also help fill in any knowledge gaps that I can. I've been doing this for 30 years, and please look upon me as a resource who's a tribal member that will help do whatever I can to strengthen the finances of the tribe, both on the tribal side, the tribal council side, and the trust board side. Thank you for listening.
Thank you, Jim. New business.
Did we vote on that?
Oh, we did not vote.
We did vote on
Oh.
that. Approve that motion.
We made the motion to
And I second that.
financial pending notice, but we didn't vote on it. All in favor, please
Aye.
say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Let the record show that the financials are approved pending audit. Has any council member noticed any missing department reports this month? I hadn't properly gone through every department report to the best of my knowledge. I guess they're all here. Is there any discussion about any department report?
I just have one, Chief.
Yes.
I wasn't sure if Bryce covered this during the workshop or not. The one for on the turtle's back, stories of the Lenape told to the grandchildren. Rutgers University Press has reached out to an author at Rutgers, and they turned in a proposal to write about our Delaware traditional peoples. And they're using anthropology. Trying not to call anyone out as far as, and trying to be nice about the wording, because as a historian, I have some issues with anthropology and archaeology. So in that regard, I saw the proposal. We protested the proposal a little bit, or quite a bit, and they were open to changing it to be more Delaware-centric.
Bryce did cover that.
Okay, so I just want to make that clear, and to the audience that, we have our hands in it. It's not going to be done without us. And nothing, we made this very clear, nothing can be written in this without the full approval of the tribal council. So that, not another book should be written without our input. And so that's what we're doing, our due diligence on that.
That means we'll get the privilege of censoring the book.
Yeah, actually.
Well, since the book's about us, that's probably a fair position to be in. Thank you, Nikki. Could somebody read the resolution 2019-20 enrollment resolution under new business?
I'm happy to, Chief. I want to point out that there's an error on the title of it. The title is incomplete, but I'll begin. A resolution of the Tribal Council of the Delaware Tribe of Indians to Resolution 2019-20. Whereas the Delaware Tribal Council of the Delaware Tribe of Indians adopts this resolution in accordance with the Delaware Tribal Membership Act to approve for membership individuals that have been initially approved by the Enrollment Department as eligible for the tribal memberships. And whereas the following applicants have been determined eligible by the enrollment clerk. Now therefore be it resolved, the Delaware Tribal Council of the Delaware Tribe of Indians does hereby authorize and approve John Blanchard, Emerson Gentry, Perry Gentry, McKenna Getman, Tyler Mallory, Gabriel Miller, Matthew Meyer, Madison Stone, and Rebecca Stone.
I so move.
I'll second.
It's been moved and seconded that we approve this resolution
With corrections.
with
With
correction
Title.
on new membership. And the resolution is 2019-20 as amended. All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Let the record show that the new membership is approved unanimously. Dr. Bryce Overmeyer is the next item on the agenda. But Bryce had gave his report to us in the workshop, and we gave our consent for him to go ahead and take off, so we'll pass on that item on the agenda. Do I hear any other new business, Jeremy?
Oh, it's on that, on Bryce's thing, just to let our members know that on Thursday at the powwow grounds, they're holding a dinner and explaining this ground penetrating radar and what they're doing with the cemeteries. So I'm not sure what camp is that. I forget where it's at, which camp is it? Where they're having that dinner.
That's it.
Well, the only one I can think of is the one I hang out in, the camp. But it's basically pretty central.
Yeah, so they're gonna have that,
And
yeah, they're gonna have the dinner and everything.
Yeah.
Yeah, they're gonna have the dinner there and explain and talk about it, and they're gonna invite anyone who wants to come to those sites while they're doing the ground penetrating radar. I know they're gonna try and do the, Big House site there, on Highway 10, across the lake on Friday, and then they have other scheduled out, and they can tell you all that, but, just wanna let people know that we're wanting everyone who wants to be involved to come out and see this and what they're doing and how they're trying to map out these cemeteries and the sacred sites, the Big House site. And also just, if you, Chief, you just give me the, I wanted to mention our Leno Cemetery and the good work that our county commissioner up here, Mitch Annam, did with his inmate crew. He took them up there to our Leno Cemetery and reclaimed that cemetery. And I'm gonna try and get some pictures so we can get them up on the website or the Facebook page at least. But it was overgrown, looked like a soybean field, and they completely reclaimed that and cleaned it all up, and you can see all the headstones, and they just did a really good job with that. I wanted to express publicly my thanks. I'm sure a lot of the tribal council members' thanks for reclaiming that cemetery. And so, just want to thank them. Thank you.
Jeremy, I didn't realize you were talking about Thursday night. It'd be down at the Fort Briggs camp where dinner is on Thursday. His shelter's a little bit bigger than Brooks's got.
All right.
Well, we've got room on here. Jennifer?
While I'm here, I'll be back in July. I live here in Jenks, Oklahoma, but also Chesapeake, Virginia. Again, I'm sorry, Chief, if this is out of protocol, but while I'm here, I'd like it very much if I may request that one of the board members make a motion to allow Leslie Young to release to me more of the details of the accounts of the tribal council so that I can be more educated on where this money is and where the insurance is and what the portfolio is in. I request that I just have those documents so, and for April, not a year ago. I have a year ago, but I need them from April. Would someone please make a motion for me to have that access to those records, which come through Leslie as I understand it? Thank you.
Can I ask a question?
Yes.
Have you been denied that when you've asked for it?
Not denied necessarily, but just that on the tribal council side, there is an issue with definitions, I understand in the Constitution document. And then in my request for the April statement, it was, I have to have that direction directly from someone on the board.
Chief, ma'am, I apologize, I wasn't at the last meeting, could you let me know who you, I didn't hear your
Of
name, I
course,
don't know. I'm so in the dark right
I'm
now.
Jennifer Gale Jones. I'm a tribal member through my mother's side of the family, and I've been an investment advisor since 1985. Back in 1990, I actually was talking with Dee Ketchum about the tribal funds, and my advice was it fell on deaf ears and it didn't take root. And so for 30 years, I've been kind of keeping to the sidelines, but trying to watch as well as I could what was going on, which was not a very comprehensive view. So when the trust board had a seat that opened up, I thought maybe I can contribute in that way. But the concern was I'm not really physically able to be here every single month. It would be every other month. I'm here every 12 weeks. I have a clientele that's all across the country, and I drive and I see my clients. I usually drive, I don't fly. I just like having control because I bring lots of computers and printers and things with me wherever I go. So I went into the executive session and we discussed this, the fact that I wasn't present as often as was required, but they were very interested in having a tribal member that could offer professional input for the tribal council's funds. And so as I've tried to grasp a little bit more in being at the last few meetings since the middle of April, I've tried to piece together how these things work. And it occurred to me that really the way that it's looked upon is that the tribal council is more or less the governing body over the trust board. It seems that way. I'm not sure that that's correct or not, but regardless, if I'm putting myself out to give any kind of feedback on the trust money, then there's no point in not offering the same thing to the tribal council as well. And so at this week's meeting at the trust board, when I asked about the $2 million account that was from a judgment disposition, as I understand it, I was told that that was under the control of the tribal council. And so, and I asked where that money is, and they told me it was in a cash-bearing account. And of course that, you know, I just want everybody to be educated about what is insured and what isn't, and the markets and everything else that is going on, because I used to be a board member on a lot of different institutions, and you have a lot of responsibility because you're looked upon as fiduciaries, whether you know what all the rules of the road are or not. And when it comes to tribal members that are looking for their benefits, you're on the front line. And so I want to be a support person to help bring up the level of knowledge of the board members on both sides, but I also am in the business of managing money. And so I have an office in Oklahoma City as well that includes an attorney, and I clear through the largest clearing company in the world, which is Pershing Bank of New York Mellon. I shouldn't say world, America, I know for sure, which is, it matters when it comes to security. So what you want in the securities world is somebody that will give you personalized advice, but has enormous resources behind them, and that's what I represent. So, having said all that, I have some info about myself in here that I will give you. And I also offered at the trust board meeting the availability when I'm here every 12 weeks, I can do some kind of a meeting, if you like, to talk about just basics so that you have an expanded vocabulary when you talk about the money. When you make your decisions about what you're going to do, I want to bring everybody's level of understanding up so that you're more effective at making good decisions for this money. And I can stop there. I could say a whole lot more, but I don't need to. I hope I answered your question. And I don't know your name.
I'm Nathan Young.
Nathan Young. Anything else? So I'm asking for someone to make a motion that I am able to see those April documents from Arvest. And I'm talking about the account statements. At my firm, we have them very next day. April 30th, we have them May 1st.
I'll make that motion, but my concern in making this is you're a tribal member.
Yes?
You should have just had it.
Thank you. I wondered about that too. But I'm trying to be respectful.
I totally, and if we have to do it this way, that's fine, and I'll make that motion.
It should be
Thank
open.
you.
Yeah, you're a tribal member. There should have been no questions asked.
Thank you.
I'll second.
Thank you so much.
Motion's been made and seconded.
I'll just say this too, if you'd like me to be here in July, I'll be here in July, and let's possibly have dialogue between now and then, if you'd like. I can go directly to you, Chief. Right? Because time is money and things are happening, and I don't like delays when they're unnecessary. That's all. Thank you so much.
Is there any discussion on the motion? If not, all
I have a discussion. I would say this about public information, is that it does create a burden on our staff, and if every tribal member asked for all the financials for every year, we would have to develop policies and procedures, and it would have to come at a cost. That's all I want to say. You know, and it's certain, I would also say that, not at all, and it certainly would not apply to personnel issues. And there are other things, and it would not apply to other types of things that we have signed NDAs about and things like that. So there's not, you know, it's not a free-for-all on all documents all the time. It's not that anybody's trying to hide anything, it just puts it's a serious burden on people. So I'm fine with that too. Thank you for trying to help.
Thank you. And I'm fine with getting email copies. That's perfect.
to the motion on the floor, all in favor of approval of the motion, please say aye. Aye. Opposed? Thank you, Jennifer.
One each, Chief and Board. Thank you.
Let the record show the motion passes unanimously. Do I hear any further new business? Michelle, did Ernie Jackson leave?
No, he's actually waiting out in the lobby. He's
In the
he's
lobby?
awaiting, he's just waiting for the meeting to conclude.
He has copies for us. I made copies.
As far as,
I got a comment.
Would you like me to bring him in?
Chief Justice,
This is referring to our trust lands. It's surely up to the council, but I feel like we need to have more representation up in Caney other than the court. The court, we're only up there maybe 3 days, 4 days out of the month. A court clerk goes up often, but as far as having a court up there, we're only up there for 3 or 4 days. I think that since we're going to get this in trust, you know, after June 6th or 7th, that we need to have somebody else up there. I think the perfect deal would, although we can't do it now, but I think it would be perfect for the museum to go up there. But we've got so much invested in the museum down here with the new building and all that, I don't think that's a way to go. But I think it's up to the council to sit down and say, yeah, we're gonna send or assign people up there to be up there. We gotta do something with that trust land. I mean, it's gotta be something that, you know, whether it's establishment or a gas station or the tribe moving parts up there, something's we gotta have a meaningful, that's just my comments. I mean, there's gotta be something besides us up there.
I would chime in with that and make it a cultural center and but just my 2 cents.
Chief, I may speak on the subject. I have thoughts concerning this, and, you know, it's a wonderful thing we've solved a 150-year-old problem for our tribe. But my concern, I agree with you completely, Judge. What I would like to see is us become good partners in that community to Caney and help provide services to not only natives living in that community, but to contribute and be a positive influence and be a positive role in that, have a positive role in that community. And that being said, I think that starts with a government-to-government relationship. So I would like to see us, the tribal council, in contact with their city council or their body of government, whatever, in some form or fashion, to see how we can grow our programs and serve that community in the surrounding area as well. So it is something that we're, you know, I'm thinking about. Thanks for your comments.
Thank you, Chief Justice. We've got on the agenda an executive session, but I don't think anybody has anything for executive session other than we're gonna continue a workshop to talk with Ernie Jackson and somebody online. Charles?
Make the motion to adjourn.
Second.
Motion been made and seconded to adjourn. All in favor of adjournment, please say aye. Aye. Opposed? We're adjourned.